Hi, hello everyone. My name is Seongnam Oh, and I'm in charge of the video system development from the Samsung Research America. Today, I'm going to introduce about the SALT solution, and the solution is actually we will cover some topics on here. So first one is the background information about the HDR10 technology and some concept of the SALT solution, and also some detail about the SALT solution and the use case of the HDR10 with the SALT, and also something like actually available services in the market. And that kind of a topic will be covered through this session. Anyway, I can see somebody is familiar. Okay. So, firstly, the HDR10 technology is like the background information why we designed the HDR10 and SALT solution. The reason when we developed this SALT solution was started from the HDR10 technology. That's why I'm trying to give you guys some background information. Okay. The goal of the HDR10 technology was we wanted to develop the state-of-art dynamic tone mapping technology, because we have to migrate the creator intent from the original content to the display device, the client device. So we need a very, very good tone mapping technology. And also, based on the dynamic tone mapping, instead of using the static tone mapping, we have to develop something like the new approaching to build up the solution, so that you can get the best performance even though you have different display types of the devices. So the HDR10 was established in 2017, and now we have more than 139 adapters, and we have 3 logo and certification for the programs. So normal HDR10 and adaptive and gaming solutions. So the advantage of the HDR10 is like a preservation of the creator intent, because the algorithm was originally designed preserving the original creator intent as much as possible, instead of giving some room to modify the picture quality with some other guys. That's a little bit tricky things, so we were trying to keep the original creator intent. Okay. So if you if you guys had a chance to look at the SMPTE 2094-40 standard or the HDR10 LLC spec, maybe you can get some more detailed idea how we can get that kinds of creator intent preservation. So the concept is conceptually very simple, like collecting some statistic information and migrating that characteristic to the tone mapping process, to make the best mapping curve. That is the concept. So now the HDR10 is getting more popular and popular in the market, and a lot of broadcasting standard and the other standard, they already adopted the HDR10 for the real production, and the industry is really enjoyed the technology at this moment. So before directly jumping to the SALT itself, instead of talking about the technical point, I'd like to give you guys something like considerable factor how we designed the SALT. Okay, so if you look at the current the content creation industry, nowadays the HDR is a kind of new norm for the content production. And then the interesting is, even though the content providers and the content creators, they developed the new HDR creation process, but still there are a lot of SDR content process in the market, which means they still produce a lot of SDR content. So it's like the conflict concept because SDR is more like a relative norm, but HDR is kind of an absolute norm. So we have to treat that kinds of conflict. And also, we have to consider about how the content creator market is working. Because there are so many different types of service providers, and also there are so many different types of workflow for the content creation and distribution workflows, right? And also so many different types of display and the market. Some company, they want their own way, the meaning of the own way is that they don't want to change their process, but they are open to adapt a little bit for the new benefit taking, right? That's the big challengeable point. And just thinking about that kinds of challenge point is where the HDR10 Plus, the standard and the program point of view. For example, the main concept of HDR10 Plus technology is the kinds of display tone mapping. So the content creator point of view, they need to make the best performance, like the best quality of the content, like HDR content. And once they send out the content to the display device, because the display device has a very big variance, like the low-end TV, it has just capable to render 250 nit. But the high-end TV may be 1,500 nit. So you need like a more adaptive, the processing for each display device. But still, all of the displays should keep the quality, keeping the creator intent. That is the the bottom line, like the baseline to keep the quality. So recently, HDR10 Plus introduced the source tone mapping technology, which means when we deploy the HDR10 Plus technology, previously we were more focusing on the display technology, but now something like the game industry or some other PC industry, they prefer processing those kinds of tone mapping from the source device after pulling the information from the display device. So it can save delay time, and means that it's more applicable for the game scenarios. So with those kinds of considerable factors, actually when I designed the concept of the salt solution, definitely it should work with the mastering industry and post-production houses and the OTT service providers. That is the starting point, how we will design the salt solution. So the meaning of that means that is it should have a kinds of editing functionality and the color grading functionality and the transform and the deliverable functionality. But let me go to the next session for the detail, to explain about that. Okay? But what we need to do is that kinds of consideration, it should not have the limitation. So we need to consider more the market situation, for example, the Blu-ray is nowadays almost gone, right? And the OTT market is growing up, and the 5G market is growing up, coming up. So, which means we can have different types of content creation workflow, even though we can migrate past workflow, but still we can utilize the similar way with the new norm. That is the starting point, and the solution should be flexible and extendable, and it should be easy accessible. And the content need to be applicable for a lot of content service providers. The meaning of the service providers here is like a post-production house or OTT service providers. Those kinds of things are the big consideration factors, to design the solution. So now, this is the overall block diagram, how we build a salt solution. So the content sources, it should be very various types of sources, like the mobile device, normal camera device from the studio, or a lot of even the 3D game, or those kinds of things can be treated through this sort solution. And also, this output from this solution should have a capability to be renderable on the new display types, which can be provided by the Samsung or the other company, even the third-party companies as well. Okay. So this is the very high-level block diagram, what we want to achieve with the salt solution. Basically, the concept of the salt solution, when you think about the content creation workflow, like a grandmaster creation process, that is very difficult to make automation. And then that's very difficult to build the solution by us, because it's more like a professional market, and the tool makers, they have their own expert. But in our case, what we can do is, after the grandmaster processing, we can build up a lot of automation for various output and deliverables. It's a very, very suitable solution for the OTT service providers or content post-production houses. So this is the actual deliverable what we can make with the current salt. So that we have 3 types of deliverables. First one, the GUI-based salt, which means you can modify the workflows by yourself, and because that's the node-based interface, so that you can make any order of the processing, and also you can configure each nodes. The meaning of the node here is actually the algorithm. So the combination of the algorithm, you can build up the actual processing pipeline. Once you build up this processing pipeline, you have a capability to export the configuration and all the processing with the JSON format. And then you can run that configuration with the headless salt. So the headless salt, that has the capability to be run on like the server system. So you can do the mass production with the many contents with the time. So because that is designed for the batch processing, okay, without the GUI operation. And some of the company, like a post-production house or OTT service providers, they still want their own pipeline, but they want to extend the functionality with the salt capability. In that case, we provide the SDK, which can be integrated the service provider system. So here is the detail. Actually, this is the GUI-based salt, and actually you can have the chance to take a look for the demonstration on the booth. So if you guys are interested with this, then you can stop by over there. Okay, so through this GUI interface, you can develop your own pipeline and the sequence of the video processing. Okay, and this one is very oriented to make an HDR content. Even though this solution can have a single master solution for the HDR content creation and SDR content creation, and even the tone map output with the one processing. But today's demo of the demo room is more oriented to the SDR to HDR conversion. So the salt solution has, this is one of the example, the algorithm. It has the scaling algorithm, because a lot of SDR content was developed for only 2K, like SDR resolution, right? So definitely you need the scaling. And the tone scaling, the meaning of the scaling here is the tone scaling and also resolution scaling as well. And it also needs the traditional color grading, even though we don't provide the very professional, the various controls for the color grading, but at least it provides the minimum set of the color grading. So we call that a mini color grader. So based on that kinds of solution, what you can do is that actually you can utilize this solution for the studio workflow, like SDR to HDR conversion or HDR to SDR, HDR to HDR, and the super resolution, and the VOD metadata generation for the HDR10 Plus content production, and the OTT service were the similar mechanism, but more like a real-time operation. And something like a live operation with the game shaders. Those kind of things are also another opportunity with the solution. And then also, you can use this one for the certification of the HDR10 Plus, because it was derived the project from the HDR10 Plus project in order to handle a lot of use cases with the HDR10 Plus. So it has the capability to handle the certification as well. So this is the actual example, like SDR to HDR conversion. This is the actual demo over there. So you need tone scaling once you got the content, and then it's the conversion from the SDR to HDR. And the other one is the HDR to SDR. So taking the HDR content and converting to the SDR content, and then taking the HDR to the HDR10 Plus content. Those kinds of process, the workflow can be treated in with the salt solution. And also, we provide the command line solution. This is the separated one. No, it's not the headless salt, but this is more like a functional the command line application, because a lot of post-production house, they want make their own batch process with a small block operation. So in order to build up the HDR10 Plus content with this solution, they can combine all of these command line solution with the batch processing. And then this is the certification app. Specifically, we designed this one for the source tone mapping case for the HDR10 Plus. And then this application is going to be distributed through the HDR10 Plus LLC, the organization. So you can get, once you subscribe to the HDR10 Plus LLC, you can get a free version of this solution. And so this one is like the pre-verification of your GPU and your system for the source tone mapping. And then we provide a lot of SDKs. Firstly, like the VOD HDR10 Plus SDK or the live HDR10 Plus SDK based on the use cases. Some cases you can apply this one into the offline process, and some cases you need to deploy this one in the online process. So you need a different characteristic and a different process, so that we have two diversity of the solution for the SDK. And then this one is kinds of a simulation solution, to see the end-to-end result with any kinds of processes, specifically for the HDR10 Plus scenario case. So to see the ideal result, like the preview, once you process something, you can utilize this end-to-end solution, and we call that the playback SDK, so that you can integrate this one into your system to see the preview result. And nowadays, we are extending the solution into the mobile device as well, specifically the Android device. We are developing the SDK to support the solution. So here is some of the use case what we are using in the actual market. Some of the post-production house, they already start using the salt solution, to convert the content, like a legacy content, to the new HDR content. And also, some of the company, they already utilize our SDK, to handle the HDR10 Plus requirement from the market. So you can utilize the command line, we call that the CLI STMS, and the HDR10 Plus SDK, also the SALT, the GUI-based or the command line-based solutions. And then now we are developing the one thing like the real-time solution, because as you guys saw in the keynote, the TV Plus solution, like the online real-time system, it need to apply the similar solution for, to get the better quality, right? So we are building up the SDK, and it can be deployed into the TV Plus client device. So the commercial and contents, which is originally the SDR content, it can be automatically converted to the HDR content, and it can be serviced through any kinds of these kinds of services, specifically like the TV Plus service case, and the customer get better quality benefits. This is one of the scenario case. To compare the quality between some of the workflow, like if you develop the one workflow, like even the competitor solution, you can deploy this solution into your system, and then you can build up the actual different types of output solution, and you can compare the quality as well. Okay, so now I can just show some information about who is using the current solution, and the list of this one is the actual solution. And then now some of the content creation tools, or the post-production house, or some of the OTT service providers, they are the major tool and the service provider. They make the solution, right? Like Blackmagic Design or Colorform. There's a very popular tool in the professional industry, and they already applied these solutions. So if you visit the HDR10 Plus website, you can see some of the YouTube or the Hulu or Google, the information, because they are the adapter of the HDR10 Plus technology. So they already took some of the solution from the SALT, like the SDK or command line tool or the standalone tool, and they extended their workflows. Okay, and that is all what I prepared for today. I almost hit the deadline time. But anyway, I think I can get a question only for one person, if you guys have any question. Otherwise, if you visit our demo booth, actually I can give you more detailed information, and we can discuss about the very detailed scenarios, any kinds of technical pointers over there. Okay. You see? Okay. Thanks, guys.